Hi yogis, hi runners. My name is Bruce Chung and I'm here at Yoga for Runners HQ, excited to share with you today our session that is focused on the hamstrings. We all love and adore the hamstrings, don't we? But it's important that we understand how the hamstrings affect our lower back. So when the hamstrings are tight, which I think some of you guys out there know, it actually pulls down on the pelvis, which tightens the lower back and it almost flattens the lower back, eliminating the natural curve of our lumbar spine. And then when that occurs, we are more prone, more susceptible to injury. So of course, no one wants to be injured, and a great way to prevent that is by lengthening or opening up the hamstrings. Now, one thing that I spoke about in previous class, especially for those of you who joined us in our 3-day challenge, is that there's an importance in contracting the muscles when we are looking to stretch them. Especially in a dynamic practice like the one we're going to do today. So just making sure that as you come to your stretch, you're also contracting so that we lengthen out the muscle in a safe manner. Go ahead and come to the front of your mat. We're going to start with our feet at hip distance apart and standing tall in Tadasana mountain posture. Feel free to look down at the feet. Angle them in such a way that the second toes are parallel. And then begin to move your body slightly back so that the knees are above the ankles and the hips are above the knees. Close your eyes, take a deep breath in. With your mouth together, mouth closed, exhale. Okay, open up the eyes. Inhale, stretch the arms all the way up over your head. Look up. Take your belly button in, bend your knees softly, push the hips back, and exhale, fold all the way over your legs. I want you to bend your knees as much as is needed so that your hands can touch the floor, and if not palms flat, then at least the fingertips touch the floor. Bring your hands now to hold on to the opposite elbows in what we call dangling pose. You can open your eyes for a moment. I want you to see where your chest is relative to the thighs. I want you to bend your knees so much that your chest is closer to the legs, which will then minimize the pressure on the lower back. Okay, remembering that the lower back and the hamstrings are very much connected. Breathing in nice and fully. Breathing out completely. Okay, so allowing the arms and the head to act as weights that will traction through the spine. Okay, looking at your knees, making sure that they're not collapsing inwards, but in fact energetically moving out so that they're still roughly stacked above the ankles. Okay, we'll place both of our hands firmly onto the floor. Okay, breathe in and look forward, spine long. And then as you exhale, step back to downward facing dog pose. Okay, so remember that in your downward dog, if you are tight in the hamstrings, you want to keep the knees slightly bent or a lot bent to create the tilt of the pelvis, where the sitting bones are lifting up. We'll step our big toes close together. And on our next breath in, please inhale, lift your right leg all the way up. Now, two things here. Look at your left foot, and keep the heel hiding behind the toes, but then ground your left heel into the floor. We're keeping our hips relatively squared. Roll the outer right hip down, and from your inner right thigh, lift even higher. So you can feel the moment you lift the thigh while the left heel is pushing down, you're moving deeper into the left hamstrings. Look straight ahead. And as softly, lightly as you can, place your right foot forward and come up onto the tips of your fingers. Stretch forward through the heart. We'll lower down onto the left knee and lean slightly back, straighten your right leg. So as always, you can have 2 blocks and a strap handy. If you're unable to touch the floor here, guys, please feel free to use your blocks on either side of the foot. We're going to make this dynamic. Bend your right leg, keep your back knee on the floor, open the chest. And then exhale, lean back, right leg to straighten or mostly straight. Okay? The inhale brings us into the lunge, heart wide. Exhale, leaning back, right leg straight. Okay? One more time. Inhale. And then exhale. We replace the sole of the foot down, and then into our lunge, we can take our arms all the way up and over our head, Anjaneyasana, or low crescent pose, and then lower your hands down. Step your right foot back to downward dog pose. You might find every now and again, I'll say the name in Sanskrit. This is something that I'm very much accustomed to, but I'll always give you the English translation. Come forward towards high plank pose, breathe in, downward dog, exhale. All right, big toes close together. It is, of course, the left side. Inhale, lift your left leg up. Now, to find more access into the back of the right hamstrings, I want you to push that right heel deep into the floor. Your lifted toes, they can be pointing back or maybe to the floor, but just make sure that as you lift, it's from the inside of the thigh. Do your best to keep those hips squaring off. Contain the core, navel in. Can we lift the leg higher? Then look straight ahead. Step as lightly as you can between the hands. Deep core control. On your fingertips, lengthen through the spine. We'll lower our right knee to the floor. Feel that our chest is wide on the breath in. And on our breath out, we lean back, legs straight or mostly straight. Inhale, bend into the front leg, opening the chest. And exhale, straighten. A little bit of a fold. Okay? Inhale, heart wide, head up. Exhale, lean back, front leg straight. Okay, breathe in. And last time to lean back, breathe out. Good. Bend into the front leg. And then with your next breath in, stretch your arms all the way up over your head. Really allow the arms to lift. And then lower your hands down onto the mat. Downward facing dog. Exhale. Bring your big toes closer together. Let's once again lift our right leg all the way up and towards the sky. And exactly as we did before, you can in fact lift the left heel high and then press it all the way down towards the floor. Lift the left heel up. Lower it towards the ground. Let's keep it into the mat. Lift our right leg higher. Look straight ahead and step between the hands. Now, look at your back foot. Place it down so it's about, I'm going to say roughly 9 o'clock. Lining the front heel all the way down with the back arch. If you're a bit tighter in the hips, walk your foot a bit more towards the right so it's instead heel to heel. In any case, we're coming up into what we call warrior two pose. Breathe in and exhale, deepen into the lunge, lower your right thigh more. From this position, everyone straighten the right leg completely, okay? Or at least mostly straight. We're going to take the outer right hip, pull it towards the back of the mat, whilst extending forward through the right arm. For some of you guys at home, you might need a block. Bring your hand down. If it doesn't touch the floor, use your yoga block. And then stretch the left arm up and over your head. So we call this triangle pose. It's an excellent posture for opening the chest, the shoulders, getting into a rotation there, but at the same time working into the back line of our right leg. I believe a lot of you will be feeling this here. Keep rooting through the ball of the right foot as you hug the right hip back. So these dual actions will help to bring more space into the leg, as well as, remember, we're contracting that front leg. Take one more breath. Look down at the floor. Place your left hand down. Set the block aside. Place your right hand down. Downward dog. Step back. Okay. Allow your feet to come a little bit closer. Big toes touch. We'll stretch our left leg towards the sky, and as the leg goes higher, right heel lifts. Keep your left leg up. Push the right heel down. Lift your right heel up. Keep your left leg high, and then lower your right heel down. Now look straight ahead and step all the way forward. Okay, set up your warrior two. Remembering that it's either front heel to back arch. If you're a bit tighter in the hips, both heels in one line. Take your right arm to the back and your left arm to the front. Please take a few moments here to settle. In fact, by simply pushing our left heel into the floor, that is the front heel, we're going to activate the line of the hamstrings so that they're nice and warm for when we stretch. Straighten the front leg completely. Pull back through your left hip, reach forward through the left arm, and lower your hand down. Remember, if you cannot reach the floor, I would suggest using a block so you're not collapsing. If you would like, if you don't have the block, you're welcome to rest on the shin. I just want you to be very aware that you're not placing so much pressure down onto the shin bone. You're welcome to look up. If that's stressing the neck, then face the side. And although that front leg might be slightly bent, I want you to think of making it straight. So that very action helping to contract the leg as well as stretch through the back line. Look down at the floor. The right hand touches, the left hand is already there to frame the foot. We step back, downward dog pose. Why don't you guys come down onto the knees? We'll take a brief rest in child's pose. Knees can be wide or together. Arms can be forward or back. Now, sit up straight, okay? Allow yourself to come back to downward dog pose. I want to come to one more standing posture. And we call this intense side stretch. Step the right foot forward. Look at your back foot, and unlike our warrior two, I want you to step the back foot in a little bit more, so narrowing the stance, so you're able to firm the back heel into the ground. Yes, notice my stance here. Take your right thumb into the right hip crease and gently press back. And you can feel, you might already feel that there's an opening through the hamstrings even more. Now, I know that some of you will be unable to touch the floor, so option A, hands to hips, focus on extending the heart forward, or option B, simply placing your hands on top of those blocks. I'm going to place my hands down myself. Every breath in, think of bringing the armpits forward away from the top of the hips, and then exhale, folding over the leg. And maybe folding is just a slight hinge. It's not, try to work away from the aesthetics and more for the feeling, right? Even just by lowering the abdomen a centimeter closer to the thigh, I'm sure you guys will feel this deeper into those hamstrings. Connect with the breath. Okay? The more tension that you feel, the more challenge that you feel, allow your breath to guide you deeper. Look forward, bend the front leg. With your hands flat, downward dog, exhale. So although it's called intense side stretch, it very much gets into the back of the leg. And I would say probably more so than the last few poses that we've done. Okay, breathe in. And then left foot forward. Remember that our stance is narrower than before. Narrow the stance enough that you're able to firmly place the back foot onto the ground. Left thumb into the left hip crease and gently press that buttock back. So in simply pulling the outer hip back into space, you'll find more depth in your left hamstrings. Then breathe in to extend the heart. Use the blocks if you need to, guys. And then exhale, fold over the leg. Oh yeah. So I have to tell you guys that there was once a time where my hamstrings were so tight that I could I could not touch my toes with my legs straight. So just know that there is progress, or there is the potential for progress, but you do have to commit. And you do have to really explore these sensations that cause discomfort. You know, is that exactly what you're feeling now? There's this feeling that you're probably wincing, that you might want to come out, but I want you to just hold this, close your eyes, and take 2 more full breaths. Emphasis on the exhale. Inhale, chest draws forward. Bend softly your knee, hands down. Downward dog, exhale, draw the navel into the spine. We're gonna hold down dog for 3 long breaths. Focus on the heels moving downwards, but energetically lift the sit bones up. You can lower your head, look towards the thighs, and think of pressing the tops of the thighs away from the chin. And then softly lower your knees down. And we're coming into child's pose. Sit up straight. I want you to lie down on your back. Send your feet to either side. And this is great because our next posture has us onto our back, being an excellent segue for your very last posture, which is corpse pose. Now, happy baby pose. Bend your knees, hold your feet. I like to hold from the outsides. You are more than welcome to hold insides. See what works for you, but the arms are inside of the legs. Ground through your sacrum, press firmly through your shoulders, and then as much as your hands are pulling the knees down, allow the feet to resist and press back up. So these dual actions, getting the leg muscles to contract, but helping to bring more of that space into the back line of the legs. Release your feet. Take your knees into the chest, reach your arms around the legs, and then squeeze. And beautiful, guys. Release your legs straight down onto the floor. Allow your arms to rest beside you with the palms facing up. Notice what you feel here within the whole of your body, of course. But pay particular attention to the back line of your legs, the hamstrings themselves. I hope you've enjoyed this practice. Let us know what you think in the comments below. And feel free to return to this practice time and time again. Until next time, yogis, namaste.